2017 Hot 6 GSL Season 3 Codex.
All right, we're back, and it's time for a best of 3 to find out who will advance first today into the round of 16. Terran versus Terran, Ryung versus INnoVation.
Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of people might say that INnoVation should move on no matter what, excuse me, but I think you gotta respect Ryung here in a Terran versus Terran. He's so good.
Ryung is really, really strong in TVT. Has been forever. INnoVation, the reason why he hasn't crushed every tournament this year is because his TVT took a little bit of a dip as far as how well he's been doing in it. So, you know, he was saying there in the interview he's fixing that up. He's working on his overall vision for TVT and how to fix that. And as he does that, and as he succeeds at that, we'll just see INnoVation at the top of every tournament again. Because this is a guy that takes the very best players in the world to kill him. But if you look at TVT and you list the best TVT players in the world, Ryung has to be very high on that list.
Yeah.
I value him over most of the horsemen in TVT. I think that...
I agree.
You know, it's like... He's just right up there, man. It's like TY and Ryung and... I don't know, Maru? Like, in my opinion, those are like the best TVTers right there.
You know, it's funny because Ryung is so solid. He hasn't been as solid in the other matchups, but INnoVation has been so close to being God tier overall. It probably should have won basically everything for a while, but in order to be that consistent, like Sue is, even though Sue is not winning the finals, Sue's pretty damn well-rounded.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's pretty much fine against any player on any map. Oddly enough, just not in the finals, but he beats the other guys from other finals to get to his own finals.
Absolutely. He destroys champions.
Yeah.
And he also makes champions.
He's the decider, man.
I made you and I can destroy you.
That's right. Well, we're going to go into game number 1 of this TVT, Ryung versus INnoVation. Let's go.
You could tell them that you tried, but there ain't no going back. They'll never catch me.
In the upper right, in the blue, he is
Ryung.
in the upper left, in the red, he is
INnoVation.
All right, so positionally, it's slightly better for INnoVation. Obviously, the back of Ryung's main is open for dropping, whereas if Ryung wants to drop INnoVation's main, he has to go way around or through the natural.
And dropping the main is quite important in TVT. Usually, you're going to have doing a lot more damage, especially the longer the game goes on in a TVT by getting into the main, taking out production facilities, or even getting some kind of good position with your army at their ramp where they can't quite get up there, or they have to drop it, and then you get under the drops.
It's one of the most powerful ways to destroy a Terran is getting on top of production. Really, all matchups.
So I feel like this is this matchup with these two players, it's really 50-50.
Yeah, you know, I can't really argue with that too much. Like, INnoVation at the beginning of the year had like 90% win TVT, and then it just kind of plummeted, and all the matches that he ended up losing were TVT, even though he's really still quite good at it. But, you know, they definitely play a slightly different style. INnoVation generally will be up a base on a lot of people as the game gets longer and have more tanks. And the way that he lost almost all of his TVTs that I got to see were, like, he'd be winning and then, like, eventually all his tanks would get whittled down and there'd be some weird base trade and he just doesn't have anything left. But Ryung, on the other hand, is kind of like a little bit aggressive in this matchup. He moves around with his whole army. He doesn't, like, for instance, TY and Maru will keep units at home and try to defend against stuff all game while harassing. Ryung, a lot of the time, is active on the map. Like, he will just have just about every unit out there trying to find ways to hurt you.
Yeah, Ryung is very technical with how he approaches, especially the first half of a TVT. He's usually the initiator. I think you were not wrong, Artosis, earlier on when you mentioned he's actually kind of similar to Gumiho in a lot of ways, where how he approaches some fights and some engagements. He wants to try to get a leg up early on, and Ryung's been pretty consistent about doing that throughout his TVT history. And there's not a right or a wrong when it comes to that. It's just a way that you're approaching the game.
Absolutely, yeah. You're very right about that. Like, every style can beat every style. Sometimes you have people that are favored slightly in a way because of the way that they play the game, but StarCraft really is, you know, so much about, like, expressing yourself through the game and playing it how you want to play it and how you see it. That's what makes it so good.
Looks like this first Reaper should go down. Nicely done there. Ryung taking that out. INnoVation now staying back here in the upper left. We do have Cyclones coming out right now for Ryung. We'll see if he decides to try to come in here and initiate.
Looks like it's going to be possibly a drop coming out of INnoVation rather quickly. I think I saw him make a Widow Mine in there, right? So maybe a Mine Marine type of drop coming out. Of course, Cyclones kind of, early game TVT, Cyclones beat everything.
Yeah.
So definitely on the defense, it's going to be quite strong.
So INnoVation staying back here. We do have that medevac out, loading up now with the Marines and that Widow Mine. And of course, it's quite accessible to get up to this location. So they're both going for drops, which means there may be not enough defense here back at home on either side.
And they're both making Cyclones and Vikings, so that's like good stuff to defend with early on for sure. Let's see how this mine goes. That's definitely going to be a very important part of this.
Okay, the mine's being targeted, and it's not quite picked off. Oh, wow, that connect there on the Cyclone. Okay, Widow Mine's been taken out. Meanwhile, for the drop over here, it's actually coming into the main, and there isn't anything here to defend right now for INnoVation. That actually flew, I believe, over everything.
Yeah, INnoVation was so busy microing over on this side with his drop that the drop from Ryung is actually kind of doing quite a bit. He's got a decent amount of SCVs already, and he's going to lose his drop over at Ryung's base as well.
So the medevac now flying out towards the south. He needs to stay out of range of that Viking there.
Ooh, this Viking's truly hunting him right now.
And it looks like with the unload, just one Marine is not unloaded as the medevac is taken out.
At least he gets away with the Cyclone and the Marine, so definitely that goes a little bit better for him, I'd say.
Over here, INnoVation has now rallied up his units by destroying the medevac. He knows that there's no real threat now from Ryung to try to drop in here. I suppose the Reaper could try to sneak in, although I don't think the impact of that would be too tremendous here. So INnoVation now going to try to scoot in, heading towards the third base and seeing if he can't do any abuse or damage of his own onto Ryung. Now, I only see one Cyclone here for Ryung, and that's, 2 versus 1 when it comes to Cyclones.
It's a huge difference.
It's a big difference.
And with the 2 Vikings as well, like, I think that INnoVation has a very good window here.
Yeah, in fact, this might just do it.
Yeah, Siege Tank is on the way for Ryung. If that was out, he'd be fine, I would say, but this is fantastic.
Oh, wait, there's a second Cyclone from here at the bottom.
Oh, that's actually really nice, but landing that Viking definitely helping out quite a bit. Another Cyclone flanks. The Cyclone flank gets flanked by a Cyclone.
I know. and as you can see here, now the SCVs are having to be evacuated, and it appears that there was just a window of time where there was enough units for INnoVation and enough of the right kind of units where he could actually come in here and just do some damage of his own. The tank now taking damage. The Viking going to land right before that tank is picked off. SCVs coming here to try to help out.
Oh, man, just so much damage coming out of INnoVation right now. 16 SCVs end up falling, and this gives INnoVation just a magnificent lead.
You can really see INnoVation has such a good read on Terran versus Terran. It looks like this was a very straightforward game so far, but there was a lot of nuance to this for INnoVation to be able to read everything correctly, to identify that Ryung simply put would not have enough.
Yeah, he killed the medevac. He knew that the Cyclone had to go home the long way, right? And he had been making Cyclones himself. That was like perfectly timed out. If he gets there and Ryung already has a siege tank, he just has to turn around. Ryung loses no SCVs.
You can only have a play like that if you've had a lot of experience in every kind of scenario in TVT to just identify what's going on. So nicely done there by INnoVation, who, by the way, his stim is going to be finishing a little bit quicker than Ryung's is. We'll see if INnoVation decides to do any kind of initiation. Well, there's a window timing that INnoVation still has opportunities to potentially punish Ryung.
Yeah, I don't know where Ryung is going to find any damage as INnoVation is taking his third base. By the way, I really like the building placement of Ryung, everything far away from the drop zone of INnoVation, but he's sitting here at such a far behind spot. He's down a base. He's down an engineering bay, which means very shortly he'll be down an upgrade. And his economy is so weak after losing all those SCVs.
Okay, medevacs are coming up now. Is Ryung going to be prepared? There's a spotter depot over here, and there's a tank in a really good spot. In fact, this is just out of range of that tank. So oddly enough, he's going to be able to get out. I thought he was going to suffer a lot more damage there. It looked like he should have just been hitting within the range.
Yeah.
But nicely done there by INnoVation, who is now looping around down here to the middle to see if he can't cut off any other movement from Ryung this way.
He's going to be able to have that map control for the moment being. Throwing up a sensor tower as well, continuing with those upgrades. 1-1 about to finish as Ryung just starts his +1 armor. And Ryung has to make a power move, but how do you make a power move? INnoVation is spread out perfectly.
Okay, nice engagement here. INnoVation just mowing down Ryung's units, keeping Ryung at bay. And keep in mind, INnoVation is just growing at a very, very scary rate. It's 66 SCVs to the 44 right now for INnoVation in the lead in that sense. I'm not sure. I think Ryung may have actually been beaten down so hard that there's really no way, unless something crazy happens. Maybe let's say this drop works. I don't know if it will. Other than that, I don't know how you could possibly come back from this.
You know, you're very right about that. Like, he needs to do something crazy like a Doom drop.
Hold up. If this drop comes in there, because INnoVation's actually hitting with everything, which means there might not be anything back at home to stop 4 medevacs here. Now, INnoVation should know this is coming. Really good entry here.
Wow, all those SCVs getting picked off so easily. A drop does come into the natural here, but plenty of units left over for INnoVation. This is not going to work out well for Ryung.
No, I think the damage is happening too quickly here. INnoVation is just dominating. Ryung is going to have to tap out this game as we move on to game number 2. GG.
Super well done by INnoVation. That little Cyclone attack set up everything for him to win this game.
I mean, INnoVation cut through Ryung like a hot knife through butter there. There was no moment where INnoVation did not seem to be in complete and total control. Let's see what Ryung does here in game number 2. I really thought this was going to be closer, but INnoVation seems to be on another level.
Yeah, well, that game at least, he really punished Ryung. When he chased down that medevac, I feel like that is such a key moment, because if even that second Cyclone is at home on top of the ramp, INnoVation has to pull back. He's not going to be able to get in there and really do that type of damage that he did, but from there, he's like, oh, yeah, no, I know how to finish you off from here.
Game number 2 is going to be on Proxima Station. Can Ryung come back? Does he do any kind of weird build like a proxy or some kind of a cheese? Does Ryung want to play head-to-head against INnoVation in a standard game? Because even though Ryung is known to be quite good in TVT, in fact, this guy is basically a Terran assassin. INnoVation looked like he was a Ryung assassin. Anyways, let's go into game number 2 now.
You can ride, you can fly, you can tell them that you tried, but there ain't no going back. They'll never catch me.
In the upper right, in the blue, he is
Ryung.
in the bottom left, in the red, he is
INnoVation.
already.
Yes.
People are making buildings in the middle of the map.
Are they?
They are. Thank you guys for coming down. Hope you're enjoying the games.
That's an audience stasis. Those aren't buildings. Oh, okay. There they are. Okay, so Ryung looks like he wants to do some proxery. Some Tom Proxery going
on.
And, okay, so how many units will INnoVation make? You know, I think he will just straight up start with 2 Reapers. And that really helps when trying to hold it, something like this.
Yeah, well, it's corner cutting that gets you in trouble if you're INnoVation in a moment like this.
Yeah, like if you go Reactor after your first Reaper, this is probably going to kill you, right? But especially on Proxima, this is like one of the least likely places to get proxied, even though it's called Proxima. Well, isn't that crazy? But it only has the 1 jump-up point for Reapers, so it makes it a little bit harder, right? If you hold the ramp, it's held. That's the end of the story.
We have the command center being made down here. There is 1 Reaper about to come out. We see a SCV. Is he going to make a 3rd building over there, or is he just going to keep those 2 SCVs over there as it is?
I'm not sure, actually.
You would have assumed they would have been sent back. Maybe they're going to be used with the rush?
Yeah, he'll definitely use at least 1 to spot and tank Reaper hits as he moves in. I do wonder, he could do something like a factory and continue the push. We've seen a few people try that in TVT on this map.
Hold up. Is this Reaper going to be ready? INnoVation needs to be very careful.
Oh, no.
And this Reaper's already taking so much damage. Oh, this is really bad.
Oh, no.
This is really bad. SCVs have been pulled.
Oh, that was good micro there by INnoVation, saving this Reaper so far.
Yeah, so far so good. SCV goes down. Wall is up.
Okay, he did go directly into this reactor, so lucky for him, he does have the wall up. Can start a Hellion now. Uh-oh. Is he supply blocked?
No.
Okay, not anymore. Making a Cyclone. When that Cyclone comes out, going to help so much.
Okay, 2 Marines being made. The reactor is under heavy fire here. SCVs may need to be pulled. He's going to repair here. He needs to stay out of the range of those grenades.
By the way, he is proxying a factory right now, so that is definitely a very big deal.
Yep, he's doubling down.
Super all in here.
Okay, 2 Marines are out, but that's not enough against these Reapers. Cyclone coming. Cyclone almost out, but with just 1 Cyclone, you can abuse that Cyclone with the grenades.
Yeah, you can make
totally
that thing bounce
doable.
everywhere.
Here we go.
Oh!
Locking him
in. He locks him in with a tech lab. I love it. Oh, and once again, INnoVation with the play of the week right there.
That was so good. That was not the play I was expecting.
Close the door.
No one leaves here alive.
Oh my God, that was sick.
So well done.
Oh my God, and Tech Labs build so fast too. That was so smart by INnoVation.
Yeah.
That was so smart and so good. And now there's just like a Cyclone building. He lost a bunch of Reapers. 2 Cyclones out. Oh, geez.
Okay, here we go. Cyclone pops out just there.
Ooh, some grenades could help him out here. If he could get just one of these alone. Boop, boop.
Up it goes. All right. Add-on coming here. Now, all of the structures that can produce are outside of INnoVation's base. So, really the problem for Ryung is that he has to do damage here. Or he's just not going to be in a good position because the production's going to be way too streamlined here for INnoVation.
Yeah, he's still making units here, and he's going to spot up the ramp, so that's definitely going to help. He's going to be able to get a little bit of damage done at least.
Okay.
Ooh.
Nice juggling there with the nades.
Yeah, very good grenades, but the SCV's repairing, definitely helping out quite a bit. Don't forget, INnoVation has a second command center already, has a siege tank on the way. The siege tank shuts this down 100%. Even Marines in the bunker shut it down almost all the way.
Okay, INnoVation now really beginning to stabilize in the series.
Look at this. At the end of the day, this command center is about to finish, and the SCV count is close to even. So INnoVation will be up in SCVs, but not by as much as you would think after all of this.
Well, a lot of those SCVs were picked off trying to repair that reactor or trying to repair that bunker earlier on. The 1 barracks is going to go down, and it seems like Ryung's angle to take from here is to make another command center and try to expand doubly while INnoVation is just trying to get in a more straightforward direction ahead in his own right.
Yeah, just try to go into 3 bases. He's getting a quick stim as well, so he can utilize that mineral income when it finally does start up.
The Raven might be pretty smart because if INnoVation's inclined to leave his base, the Raven can come in there and chuck auto turrets and start hitting SCVs, and that's a really cheap and effective way to keep INnoVation back in his base instead of trying to move out any further.
You know, also, Banshees are something he should be a little bit scared of. What if INnoVation did rush up to Banshees from this point? That would be very tough to deal with when all your buildings are in the center of the map. You're just not going to have a lot to kill them off. So the Raven makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's kind of a fix-all unit at this point in time. We have Stim on the way for both of these players. Medevac coming in here now.
Double Cyclone drop, man. This is...
Well, let's see if it goes for this command center. Command center just barely finishes in time, and the SCV will spot that Medevac. So let's see how ready Ryung is going to be when this drop commences.
All right, he's got 3 Cyclones of his own, so it looks like nothing can really be done here. Might even get a decent lock on.
Okay, Medevac taking a decent amount of damage, but does get away.
Might be able to get a little bit of harassment done here, but this won't do too much overall, and INnoVation going to pull back while making his 3rd command center.
Meanwhile, back at home, we see players now upgrading the infantry here to get them set up. Again, it is going to be Ryung with Stim finishing a little bit quicker. I don't know if that means that Ryung would actually bother to attack at that period of time since he had to float his structures back home to try to get his economic engine, his macro engine up and running. But that also means that Ryung should be safe to any other further harass that might come here from INnoVation. Stim is kind of a fix-all for anything that involves you getting poked into.
Yeah, I don't think he can really attack at all right now, INnoVation. I think that Ryung has transitioned out of this triple proxy quite well, to be honest. I mean, look at this. He's got his double engineering bay quicker. He got his Stim rather quickly. His SCV count is going to be at least equal with INnoVation after all of this. He's even got a Raven out, which is some extra tech. So this is looking pretty decent. Like, Ryung has got himself into a good fighting spot here against INnoVation.
Which is pretty impressive considering that rush didn't do anywhere near as much damage as Ryung wanted it to back there.
Yeah. Yeah, the Reapers, I mean, yeah, you got some SCVs and add-on and stuff like that, but INnoVation dealt with it really, really well.
And now with INnoVation reclaiming the low ground here, the 3rd command center can set up down here and INnoVation can try to start to stabilize on his own 3-base economy. But I got to say, Ryung has done a really good job this series. Despite INnoVation, no pun intended, but being really innovative with actually stopping those Reapers from getting out, Ryung has actually put himself in a pretty comfortable spot considering.
Yeah. Well, he really does know TVT, as we've been talking about. You know, INnoVation just kind of got him last game, killing that medevac and hitting that sick timing right before the tank. But this game, you know, even though he defended well, Ryung has done everything he's needed to do to recover and be in a strong spot. And just looking, you know, at these numbers in the upper right, it's a super even game.
Okay. Medevac's picking up now and flying over here to the right. We'll see if Ryung can actually do any damage of his own with this drop coming in here and a push over in the front. First, he's going to get this Viking very nicely done. That will probably draw a lot of the attention for INnoVation back into the very, very corner of his base that we see right over here. Meanwhile, another attack set up here in the front is one that could definitely work out here for Ryung.
All right, INnoVation unloading and stimming towards this third base for Ryung. Has like no units there. This could do a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, this base is basically completely exposed. Just SCVs here and a few Marines coming down. Is this going to be enough?
Oh, that is a lot of damage, but Ryung getting a nice siege location here.
And look at this. INnoVation coming in here and just smashing this attack from Ryung. Suddenly everything everywhere falling apart for our other Terran player Ryung. This is a disaster.
Oh, man, even dropping on top of this little push. Ryung thought he had a cute little location, but INnoVation destroying that push, continuing with his own as well, and just comes out ahead in just about every way.
Yeah, INnoVation really on top of it this game. Now, this is eventually cleaned up, and that means Ryung is going to be mining once again from 3 bases, but I got to say, INnoVation just handles everything so cleanly. Now, what about this next attack? This seems to be a much bigger attack here from Ryung than INnoVation, and maybe INnoVation's drops that did damage will end up hurting him because he wasn't able to defend back at home.
Oh, man, that's a lot of Marines stimming forward here. A ton of SCVs end up going down, but that does mean the Marines have to give their lives, which gives a reasonable army advantage here to INnoVation. That was the only real mistake we've seen from INnoVation this game, is moving out right then, because like, he had many more siege tanks and many more SCVs, but the only thing Ryung had an advantage in was those Marines. He immediately stemmed forward, and suddenly the SCV counts are even. Their economies are on track with each other. Definitely a bit of a mistake by INnoVation.
I agree. I agree. For considering he's played pretty much everything else perfectly so far, it does go to show you what can happen in a TVT. When you get an edge in a fight in TVT, because siege tanks do so much damage with splash and stim, increases the rate of damage for Marines so much. When you start to win a fight, you end up really winning it a few seconds later. The damage just shoots up exponentially versus, you know, something like Roach versus Roach, where it's like, I mean, depending on the angle they get at and how they trade damage, you can watch Roaches fight for a little while and see the
like 32 change. Beat 31 with like 2 left. Not exactly, but you get
something like that.
A little drop coming out from INnoVation. Not many Marines actually get out here. A little bit more in the main, but
INnoVation continuing to unload, but he doesn't seem to quite have enough. And this is a lot of units he's hemorrhaging here by dropping, not just with the Marines, with the medevacs as well here.
Now, look at this situation that we have. This is kind of interesting that INnoVation, he's got a huge amount of siege tanks, which is something we were talking about before this started. He is such a 2-factory siege tank type of guy.
Yeah.
But his Marines sometimes get whittled down enough that there's not enough cover for those siege tanks with his big attack. So if he actually decides to utilize this big siege tank advantage to attack, that's where we get to see, can Ryung deal with this, as many Terrans who have stopped INnoVation from winning all the tournaments this year.
Ryung fighting for his tournament life right now. He wants to win this, move on eventually by beating INnoVation. And we're about to have these 2 armies clash here in the middle of the map. It does seem like here at the bottom, it's definitely a fight INnoVation could take. Ryung is a little bit more spread out.
If he's sieged, there's no way he loses.
Okay, here we go. Sieging up. Keep in mind, there's a lot of tanks here in the back for Ryung that makes it harder for those Marines to get up there. With the reinforcements, he might be able to pull that off, though.
Kind of surprising. Ryung stayed in that fight a little bit too long against that number of siege tanks, and now INnoVation does have an advantage in that way, pushing forward and getting rid of all the spotting Vikings. That's a really strong move.
Yeah, now he can edge it with tanks if he wants to. Note that Ryung keeps scanning over and over and over to try to spot so that if the tanks do try to edge in and outrange his own tanks, he has that ability to do that.
Yeah. He who does not have air advantage must thus scan justly, as they say.
That was what I believe. That was Plato that said that.
Plato was a big TVT fan.
He was a big TVT guy.
The philosophy of TVT, one of the many lost texts from the Library of Alexandria.
Scrolls.
It's the greatest loss of all.
The Dead Game Scrolls. Like, we have him coming in now. Hold up. These tanks under fire. The Marines need to get in there and cover, and I don't know that they can.
Ooh, a few Liberators coming out, trying to get on top of these Sea Chinks. Are there enough Marines to push them back?
I think it's too much.
It might well be. A lot of Sea Chinks still left over here. By INnoVation continues to push forward. By the way, Ryung is actually mining out of the gold base during all this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I didn't notice that actually until just this moment.
INnoVation doing the same thing here. And it looks like now, if he could just break this location, possibly getting this base, most certainly the gold base would go down. SCV's being pulled. Too many siege tanks in the back. I think this is INnoVation's game.
Yeah, it does certainly look that way. Everything being destroyed at this front third base by Ryung. Or to Ryung, rather, and GG is called. INnoVation wins 2-0 and gets first place in the group.
And that means we get the moment we've all been waiting for, an INnoVation interview!
Whoa!
Yes!
Happy day! Well, he thought this group would be easy, and to be honest, he did a very good job against Ryung there. He really did, but the match against Scarlet was quite a close one.
It was, and I think Scarlett's really exhibited that she is a strong player. We'll just have to wait and see how she does against Hurricane, which I think she should do well.
Yeah, I think she's going to be able to take him down, but will she be able to take down 2 players in a row for that round of 16 that has eluded her thus far? Ryung going to await in the final match of the night, whoever wins that loser match. But of course, the story right now is about INnoVation getting first place.
That's right. INnoVation is looking primed and ready to get deep into this GSL Code S. Let's see how he's feeling now that he's managed to get past that first milestone, advancing past the round of 32.
네, B조의 첫 번째 16강 진출자 INnoVation 이신영 선수입니다. 축하드립니다.
Our first player who advanced the round of 16 from Group B.
네,
It's INnoVation.
실력에
Congratulations.
센스까지
Thank you.
갖춘 이신영 선수입니다. 오늘 플레이 정말 멋졌어요.
Wow, you had a
정말
great performance and
잘하셨는데 왜
great game
마지막에
sense.
멍원님 무슨 생각하셨어요?
What was going through your mind back
어떻게
there?
이겼지 이 생각했어요.
그래요? 나
네.
너무 멋져. 이런 생각도 하셨어요?
I was thinking, how did I win
아니요,
this?
네, 경기력 별로 안 좋아가지고
네.
But don't you feel awesome having
흔들릴
games
때
like that?
올라간 것 같아요.
경기 내용이 어디서 안 좋았어요?
그냥
No,
저그전도
and honestly, I think all my matches were a lot tougher than I expected.
없지 않아 있고
아, 그래요?
I feel like even the Zerg matches,
그래요? 그럼 저구전부터 이야기를 해볼까요? 스칼렛 선수와 경기를 했어요.
I think I even got lucky in those matches against Scarlet.
굉장히 빠르게
So let's talk about those matches against
플레이를
Scarlet.
했고 군심 생각나는 노가스 트리플 이렇게 확실히
Her creep spread was incredible.
선수들이 했던 플레이와는
It was so
다른
fast and all over
느낌의
the map.
플레이였는데 그렇게 대처하실 때
Seems
어떤
like
느낌이셨는지.
Scarlet's Zerg players,
일단은 전막을
Zerg's play is
너무
much different from the other normal Korean players.
그래서
Yes,
너무 좀
even I was surprised at how good her
뭔가
creep spread
압박감이
was.
엄청 심하더라고요.
I was
이게.
thinking, how on earth is she doing this?
그리고 워낙 잘 하더라고요. 또 저그 좋은
So,
것도 잘
It actually made me feel a
사용하셔가지고
lot of pressure in that series.
모르겠어요. 져야 될 경기였는데 이겨가지고 좀 신기하기는 하네요.
Anyways, it's hard to say. I feel like that match,
신기하다.
I thought I should have lost that, but somehow I ended up bouncing back just at the very end.
이겼잖아요.
네.
신기하네요.
네 3세트는
Even on map
이제
3.
저그가 좀
네.
Scarlet scouted you with your proxy, but you managed to engineer a comeback. Tell us about that.
네. 자, 태태전 확실히 지난 시즌 2에서 다
I think the Zerg was making a few wrong decisions back there.
좋았지만 한희석 선수와 또 전태양 선수와 경기에서 패해서 아쉬움이 있었는데 그때와 비교해서 현재 이 태태전에 대해서 느끼는 건 어때요?
You've had hard TVT matches against Alive and TY, but when you compare those previous games to what you did here against Ryung, it looks totally different.
자신감이 있는 상태나
Overall, I'd say my TVT matches or matchup has improved a lot from before.
태태전 하면
I
바로
wouldn't say I have
떠오르는
full
선수
confidence
중에
in that
한
matchup,
명 김동원
but I
선수인데
think that's
2대0으로
okay for where I'm at.
잡으셨잖아요. 자신감이 완전히 있는 상태는 아니신가 봐요.
근데 동원이 형이 잘하긴 하는데 저한테 유난히 좀 약한
You went up
모습을
2-0 against Ryung.
심리적인
It shows how strong you are in
좀
TVT. Well, first of all, Ryung's a great player in TVT.
네.
그래서 그런 것 같아요.
But it seems like he maybe had some pressure on him to face off against me.
이게 사진을 못 나가게 하려고 부속 건물을 바로 다시 지어주는 센스 이런 건 진짜 타고나는 거죠.
I was so impressed. Wow, your game sense was so good when you blocked his Reapers out with the tech lab.
좀 막 생각나가지고 근데 당연한 거기.
That was just on the moment,
거예요?
on the fly. I instantly thought that would work.
저희도 계속해서 가둬주세요. 제가 생각한 드립인데 괜찮지 않았어요?
예, 좋네요.
알겠습니다. 자, 이렇게 해서 16강 올라가게 됐고 조지명 씨에게 참여하실 건데
Gary's trying to get a rise out of INnoVation and it's not working. He's a stone cold stiller, guys. Killer. Stiller. He's a stiller.
He's a stiller.
Yeah.
근데 워낙에 뭐 16강 보면 그냥 어느 조든 다 똑같이.
Anyways, whenever I look at the round of 16, I think
그런지 딱히
it's all the same. All the groups are pretty much strong. So all I want is just less Terrans in my group.
태태전이 좀 어렵더라고요.
그래요?
잘하는 선수랑 한.
네. 이신영 선수 막 태막이라고 하더라고요. 승률이 60%가 넘는데.
Personally, I just don't like TVT that much.
온라인 대회에서 좀 태태전 다지다 보니까 그렇게 된 것 같아요.
다진다기보다는 타종족전이 워낙
Anyways, I don't have
말이
great
안
win rate against Terran.
그렇게 느끼시는 것 같아요.
I've just lost a lot of matches in all the tournaments against Terran.
많은 분들이 또 좋아하실 것 같습니다. 마지막 팬들에게
Gary says INnoVation's back. Before we close, do you have anything you want to say?
일단은 GSL 최대 8강까지 못 갔는데 이번 마지막 시즌은
I made it to the round of 8. Round of 16 of GSL. And this is the last season of the year, so I'm going to do my best to make it to the final stage.
다시 한번 1위 진출 축하드립니다.
네, 감사합니다.
Congratulations, INnoVation, and that does it for our interview. Oh, wow. Well, INnoVation's looking quite good. I cannot wait to see how far he's going to get in this tournament.
I would say he might win this season. Like, we say that every season because he's INnoVation, but he's looking
it's
on form.
It's completely safe as a caster to say that he might win any season that he's in.
Yeah, well, I mean, you should probably just bet on him for every tournament. It's like always a good bet.
He's looking better than ever before, to be honest.
Yeah.
Normally we see him just get way ahead in a later macro game, but he really knows how to beat people up early on. He's also showing a little bit more aggression and cheese, which I think is good because if he can pair that and combo that with a more traditional macro style, he's going to be an even more deadly Terran player.
But who will come out in second place of this group?
Scarlet, I think.
Okay.
We're going to take a short break. We come back. We're going to show great casting and hype for our fans. We'll be back in just a little bit. Stay tuned.